Like I've already said, people of value don't look for opportunities, opportunities look for them. How valuable are you?
Measure, the proxy measure of the influence of somebody speaking is when you can remember what the person has said so many months afterwards, and then you ponder over it. That is influence. And our next speaker is somebody who is speaking across Ghana. It's not just here, doing so many things, being the president of the Colors of Hope organization, which happens to be the headquarters of leadership and influence training in Ghana. This is somebody who we should really put so much reverence to. It's very important that you put so much reverence to. I wouldn't take much to do more of the introduction, but even as he speaks, write something down. It's most likely he might go, the power might be so fast, you might not get the chance to write it, but make sure you write something down and take note of what he says. And I'm telling you, it would have an influence on your life. I myself am a testimony to that. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd want to welcome upstage the president of Colors of Hope organization, Mr. David Osae-Oppong, to take us for the final session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's say a word of prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for a time like this. We thank you that even as this day has taken several years in planning, we have lived to see this day. We pray that as we have envisaged and imagined, it will be all of what we have expected it to be and more. Even as the presentation is about to start, we pray that we give attention to everything that you do not want us to miss. We benefit largely and maximally from everything we are about to do here. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I would want to say a very big thank you to everyone who is here right now, given that the program has actually gone beyond the expected time for some of you. Most of you have been here since morning. Some people came as early as 7:30 and they are still around. I don't say a very big thank you for that. I have been waiting for this day for months now, and finally it's here. I pray that it's everything I imagined. So as I'm about to start, I'm going to give you one or two suggestions that I think you should consider. The reason why I want to give you this suggestion is because I think that if you take the suggestion very well, it will help you receive all that you are meant to. Many times people go for meetings and they seem to not have the same experience as another person who came with them. So that you can go for a meeting with someone and the person says, this meeting was the meeting of my lifetime. Yet the meeting didn't seem to be any different from all the rest you have been to. So then you realize that the impact that a meeting will have on you is not necessarily dependent on the meeting, but you. The impact that a meeting will have on you is not necessarily dependent on the meeting. The difference between what you would receive and what the person sitting by you will receive is you. So, are you prepared to receive everything that this meeting has for you? Then you have to have that attitude of reception. What do I mean by attitude of reception? There's an attitude that helps you to receive. There's an attitude that helps you to receive. So there's a story told in the Bible. Well, I like using Bible stories a lot because for me, they are not just stories. They are instances that actually help me to live out my life. So then there was one particular instance where a man called Jesus went for a wedding. When he went for the wedding, we are told that the wine got finished. And when the wine got finished, the people came, walked to him. When they got there, his mother was standing with him. And they said, the wine is finished. Tell him to do something. The young lady turned to Jesus and told Jesus that the people say the wine is finished. They say you should do something. Jesus turns to the young lady and tells the lady, woman, it's not yet my time. The woman then turns to the people and tells the people, whatever he says, do it. Whatever he says, do it. I thought the man said it's not yet my time. When he said it's not yet my time, he was speaking proverbs. He was speaking idioms. What was he saying? He was saying that it will not be my time if you are not ready to do what I'm going to say. But if you are ready to do what I am going to say, then it is my time. Some people go for meetings and their lives don't look any different from before they went. The only reason why people go for powerful meetings and remain the same is because they are not ready to do what they are going to hear. The meeting will be your time if you are ready to do what we are going to talk about. So the attitude for reception is an attitude of readiness. At this point, if you're going to allow yourself to feel lethargic, to feel tired, to feel exhausted, and so you don't take everything that we are going to give to you, then you will not receive it all. That's why I'm spending time to talk to you about the attitude for reception. Because the things I'm going to share with you, I am convinced that these things can change your life. That's my conviction. If I was not convinced, I wouldn't have organized this program. So I'm convinced that lives will be changed because of what I'm about to say. But I think and believe that the lives that will be changed are those that are ready to have their lives changed. And so they are going to exhibit and display that attitude of reception. When you are ready to receive, you do not allow anything fall to the ground. Have you ever played volley before? Receiving in a meeting is like playing volley. You do all you can to make sure that the ball doesn't drop. Are you going to allow some words drop? Or you are going to take it all? I will take it all. I will take it all. So in this next few minutes, you have your notepad with you. Write down some of the things you hear. I've been to meetings where I heard things that didn't make sense to me, but I wrote them down. After many years, it began to make sense. Write them down. So are you ready? So let's start. This program is called School of Influence. The purpose of this program is to raise people who would be influential in every sphere or any sphere that they are in. School of Influence is not necessarily organized for us to influence you. That is not the main focus. That is just a means to an end. The end is to have you influence your world. Because we believe that every man has a world to influence. Where does that belief stem out from? This belief that I have, that every man has a world to influence, comes from a statement that says that, let them have dominion. I think it's one of the most powerful statements in the world. We Christians believe that God made that statement. Let them have dominion. The first time the subject of man was mentioned in the Bible, it said, let them have dominion. The interesting thing about dominion was that he didn't only say, let them have dominion and stop there. He said, over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle that is on the land. It looked as if he was describing certain spheres where men were going to have that dominion. The thing is this: if you ever want to exhibit and exercise dominion, then you must first discover where that dominion is supposed to be exercised. So he said, over the fish of the sea. Now, when you see statements like this and you think the fish has to do with fish like tilapia and salmon and the rest, you've missed it. When they say over the birds of the air and you start thinking about pigeons and thinking about fowls and doves, you've missed it. They say the cattle of the field and you think about horses and cows and bulls, you've missed it. What are they saying? I believe in that piece of statement, every single industry that exists in the world now was made mention of. I don't know of any industry that is not either in the air, on the sea, or on the land, or beneath the land. What were they saying? They were saying that there were some people who enter a field where they would have to influence the marine world. They were saying that some people will have to influence the engineering world because they'll be working on ground. They were saying some people will influence the air because when you talk about satellites, talk about networks, talk about waves, they all have to do with the air. So what they were saying in that piece of statement was that a time is coming when men will be required to influence a system and an industry that has to do with the air. That's why we have terms like airwave. That's why we have terms like airplay. And we talk about radio, TV. We talk about communication networks. That's what he was talking about. He was saying that if men would discover where they are supposed to exercise this dominion in the form of influence, then they can actually start doing it. When I'm told that I have dominion, the next question I'll ask is, where do I exercise that dominion? I have a message about purpose and potential. This is my belief. My belief is that the reason why there is potential is because there is purpose. The reason why there is potential is because there is purpose. What am I saying? Have you noticed that we do not say people have achieved their purpose, but we would usually say they have fulfilled their purpose? Why do we choose to use the word to fulfill? In English, I've come to understand when we say something is wonderful, it means it's full of wonder. So when we say something is fulfilled, I believe it means to feel fully. So they say, I have fulfilled my purpose. That is to mean I have filled purpose. With what? With potential. Why? Because your potential is equal to your purpose. God designed it in such a way that He didn't give you a purpose that was bigger than your potential, so that when you have exhausted your potential, your purpose will still not be full. It is ludicrous to expect someone to do that which he doesn't have the ability to do. It's only an SHS senior who will ask you to go and buy Wache 5 CDs, Talia 6 CDs, Wele 10 CDs, and then you give you 1 CD. What is happening here is that the purpose is not equal to the potential. It's an uneven balance. It can never balance. So life is such that when this is exhausted, it fills this up. Can I have this a little closer to me? I have a simple illustration here that I'm going to use to explain what I'm talking about. Open this. I believe that when man was created, he was given potential. I believe that the entire reason why we are living is to make sure that every single day we exhaust potential to fulfill purpose. Every single day you pick your potential, you continue filling your purpose. Because you have in mind a day that after it has all been said and done, and all your potential has been exhausted, it will be to fulfill purpose. There are some people that live their life never realizing that they have a cup full of potential. So they never even start using it. There are some other people who realize that they have potential, but they keep pouring it somewhere else and not to fulfill their purpose. So you find people using their energies to do everything that they don't have to do. Some people make it look like armed robbery is easy. So if you don't want to work, you go and rob. If it was easy, we'll all be doing it. That means that people are exerting their potential, brain power, effort, and pouring it somewhere else aside purpose. Ask yourself, every single day you live, are you exhausting your potential to fulfill your purpose? Because a day is coming and the day is close. When the master comes, he's not going to ask about your potential. He's not going to ask about anything aside your purpose. When he comes, he'll pick this cup and ask, have you done what I asked you to do? That is the essence of life. And that's why we are here today. To teach you, how do I exhaust that potential over a certain sphere so that I can have maximum influence? How do I exhaust that potential over a certain sphere so that I can have maximum influence? How do I do that? You know, there are some people who believe that they are useless. They think they don't have anything to offer. Let me tell you a story. There was this donkey. The owner always used to tell the donkey, you are useless. The donkey grew up thinking it was useless. There were some days whilst other donkeys were carrying very heavy load, you put just 1/10 of that load on this donkey and he can't walk. So the owner thought, this donkey will amount to nothing. The donkey lived its whole life feeling that it was inferior to all the other donkeys its owner had. So after some 20, 30 years, the donkey died. The owner went to the stall and saw the donkey dead. When he saw it dead, he said, I told you, you amount to nothing, you are useless, and you are dead. The donkey was buried, started getting rotten. Many, many years, it had lost all his skin, was left with bones. Then one day, a man was passing by. And the man was attacked by some people. And when he looked around for a weapon to fight, he saw nothing else than the jawbone of that donkey. And he slew hundreds of men with it. The man was called Samson. That donkey was never mentioned when he was alive. The only use of that donkey in the story of Samson was that he used the donkey's jawbone to kill hundreds of men. A dead donkey, bones, could have influence over hundreds of men, and a living man says, I can do nothing. I have the capacity to influence nations. That is my belief. You see, I've said this time and again that the biggest prisons in the world are not those with bars of iron. Many men have been imprisoned in their mind more than men have been imprisoned behind bars. If you can unlock the prison of your mind, you unlock your potential. What do you believe about yourself? It's important. I've told you, in order to exercise influence, you need to find a sphere. How do you find a sphere? I wouldn't have too much time to talk about it, but one of the things you can use to find where to exercise your influence is passion. Why? Because when God created you and gave you a purpose, He fueled it with passion. So that this passion is one of the indicators that drives you in the direction of purpose. So that you realize that passion keeps burning. Growing up, I had heard people tell me that passion is a force that compels you to go even in the face of death. That people would be ready to die for what they believe in because of passion. I agreed. But after some time, I came to realize that dying is one of the easiest things in the world. Most people make it look like dying for a cause is difficult. It's not difficult. Someone once said, to die for a cause is not difficult, but to find a cause worthy of dying for is the issue. Anyone who has found a cause worthy of dying for doesn't have a problem dying. Why? When you die, it's done. Those who really are doing something that I think is mind-blowing are those who are ready to kill for what they believe in. Because when you kill for what you believe in, you stay alive to face the consequences of what you've done. And if you really, really believe in it, then you continue. So what does passion do? Passion causes you to kill for what you are passionate about. So someone says that I'm passionate about this thing, yet he doesn't want to kill his flesh to put effort to get that thing done. Passion drives you in the direction of your purpose. Passion. Why is it that you would see something about this, yet another person doesn't see it? Passion. So passion will help you and drive you in the direction of your purpose. When you start having an idea, this is where my passion is leading me to. There are some other things you need to know and do to be able to adequately influence that world where you are going to. One of the things that everyone needs in order to be able, or in order to influence that sphere, I call it a God-given sphere. One of the things you need is excellence. Say this with me. Say excellence. I believe that excellence is an attitude, number one. I believe that number two, excellence is a force. Number three, I believe that excellence is a spirit. What do I mean? When I say excellence is an attitude, I'm saying that excellence has to do with the way you relate with your environment, the way you respond to issues. When someone is excellent, you will see it in how he responds to issues. Because attitude has to do with the way a man interacts with his environment. So if you are someone who is excellent, it will display itself in your attitude. Number two, when I say excellence is a spirit, I mean that it is a seed that has been embedded within you. I've already spoken to you about the fact that you cannot do what you don't have the potential to do. So, as part of your potential is excellence. So when I say be excellent, I'm telling you to be excellent because you actually have the spirit of excellence. That is to say, you have the seed of excellence within. Otherwise, I am wasting my time asking you to be excellent. Number three, when I say excellence is a force, this is what I'm saying. After you have practiced excellence for a long time, it gets to a point where before you think, excellence has made you do something. It drives you in a certain direction. This happens with people who have been practicing this for long. What is excellence? The other day I asked a group of young people what excellence is. One of them said, excellence is being on point. One of them said, excellence is being perfect. One of them said, excellence is hitting the mark. I told them, you are all right. Do you know why? in order to be excellent, there must be a marking scheme. Now, when you write an exam and someone gets good, and someone gets very good, and someone gets excellent, the one who got excellent did or made fewer mistakes. So excellence has to do with reducing your mistakes. Reducing your mistakes. Excellence has to do with fulfilling the mark or hitting the target. There must be a target in order for you to be excellent. There must be a target. I told some people the other day that one of the statements that has robbed many young people of their potential is no one is perfect. Anytime someone says no one is perfect, they usually have just made a mistake and using that as an excuse for their mistake. I said this, no one is perfect may be true, but what does no one is perfect do to you? It creates in you a culture of mediocrity. No one is perfect excuses your success. You see, this is what I believe. I have written a lot of exams in my whole life. Most of the time, when I was in primary school, I could score full marks. At least in primary school, I remember that. For some of the subjects. But one thing I know is that there was no exam that I scored 100 over 100 for all the papers. But I remember some exams that I did score 100 over 100. This is what I'm saying. You may not have the capacity to be excellent in everything, but you can be excellent in some things. Moreover, not being excellent at everything shouldn't be for the lack of trying. It should be that you exhausted some potential, but some was left. Not that you didn't try. That is why when we play football, they have shots and shot on target. They don't count how many times you got the chance and didn't try. Nobody counts when you didn't try. Because when you don't try, it doesn't count. You have to decide to be excellent. Excellence is not by mistake. Excellence is not coincidental. It's a conscious decision. I want to be excellent and I start working at it. Conscious decision. Someone who practices excellence, you would notice that he begins to make progress. Why? Because once you are reducing your mistakes, you will speed your progress. It may not happen in one day, but once you are working at it, you'll be getting better. When you do not have the spirit of excellence, or when you do not manifest or work or exercise your spirit of excellence, everything is good to you. They show you the design. Say, oh, it's okay, it's nice. You didn't see that the spelling was wrong. You see the signboard. There's a mistake on the signboard. All you saw, oh, it's nice and it's okay. When you go to the beach road, there's a place where, that's the Sakumono Beach Road. There's a place where the road turns, it curves. And that's exactly where the railway intersects the road. You see a billboard, they've written on it, we are a manufacturer of pipes. Thousands of people pass by and don't see the mistake. If you do not exercise excellence, you will not see mistakes. Everything is good enough for you. Listen, good enough is not good enough when excellence is expected. Because sometimes the reason why you didn't get that job is because you were good enough. You were not excellent. So if we have 100 people who are good enough and one person who is excellent, and we need one person, what do? We go for the excellent person. Can I tell you a short story about excellence? Have you ever heard the name David? So before I was called David, there was a certain young man who was also called David. We've heard his story several times. Several times. Now, one time, there was a very big challenge that had come, or that a country was faced with. The country is called Israel. This challenge was called Goliath. Now, the president, the ministers, the council of state, all the ministries, they were seated at the battlefield, finding how to solve this problem. They couldn't. Now, it's one thing for you to have a problem. It's another thing for the problem to be insulting in your face, and you can't even insult back. So Goliath was insulting these people. And not just insulting them, insulting their God. And none of them could say, hey. They were just sitting there listening. Then one day, whilst Goliath was still insulting, it was not planned by man, but David happened to find himself there, giving food to his brothers. When he got there, he heard this man insulting, and no man could say anything. It's like Doomsaw for 5 years. Nobody's doing anything about it. Black Stars has gone 10 times. They've never won. What can we do about it? When men were thinking that it is the president who could solve it, it was a 17-year-old boy who solved it. As long as the solution is in the wilderness, the problem would prevail. When he came, he did something very phenomenal that most of us have missed. Because when we looked at the story, we only looked at him killing the guy. What did he do? When he got there and he said he could kill this guy, they gave him armory. He said, this thing is too heavy, I can't use it. Take it off. They took it off. Do you know, sometimes people want to use shortcuts because they think it's the easiest way or the shortest way. Listen, shortcuts is the longest way to success. If you want the shortest way, it's excellence. Do you know what David did? He said, take it off. They took it off. Then he went for 5 stones. Say 5. He went for 5 stones. Why did he go for 5 stones? When I was in children's service, my children's service teacher told me he went for 5 stones because he wanted to spell Jesus. Then I was wondering, David was not from England. Would he have called Jesus Jesus? So obviously it was not because he was spelling Jesus. Do you know why he went for 5 stones? Because Goliath had 4 brothers. David didn't set out to kill only Goliath. He was going to kill 5 giants. And he didn't take 6 because he knew he would not miss one. That's excellence. Excellence is having 5 targets and taking only 5 opportunities because you know you have become so good at it that you miss. Excellence is having 5 shots and scoring them all in a match. That's excellence. If you want to prevail in that job, in that entrepreneurial target you've given yourself, practice excellence. When you are excellent, you would not look for extra opportunities. People of value do not look for opportunities. Opportunities look for them. When you find yourself trying too hard to find many opportunities, the problem is not a lack of opportunities, it is a lack of excellence. When someone is not excellent, he wears his dress, they tell him, oh, your button, he said, what's this? That's not, it doesn't even, what? Then he goes. If you are able to practice excellence in little things, you would easily practice them in big things. You see, when I see someone who is not excellent, Because many of us are not. I don't have a problem. My problem is when the person accepts that nobody is perfect, so I'm okay. Early satisfaction is the bedrock of mediocrity. I refuse to be satisfied with simple things. You know, we are taught many times, be satisfied with what you have. Ask yourself, if your father was satisfied with what he had, would he have been able to pay your school fees? Listen, there are many times that good things happen. It is not in our place to be satisfied. We can and we should be content when good things happen. But when you are satisfied, it is an implication that you do not think any more can be done beyond that which has already been done. So I think that anyone who is satisfied with what he has is wrong. I think you should be happy, content, and be grateful, but strive for more. Strive for more. I say this, that if the man who discovered that we can actually use slippers instead of walking barefooted, if he was satisfied with walking barefooted, he wouldn't have brought slippers. When this guy brought slippers, another guy came and said, I'm not satisfied with slippers. Can we get like shoes? Shoes came. Someone came on the scene and said, yeah, now we are able to walk very far distances, but we keep so long to get there. Is there anything we can do about it? Someone said, why not sit on horse? I said, okay, wow, the horse is fast. Then they got to realize that, well, when we are sitting on a horse, just about 2 people or 3 slim people can go on one horse. How can we make sure that this horse will carry 20 people, 10 people, 5 people at the same time? Someone said, let's join the horses together. Let's join like 5. They joined 5. They put a carriage at the back. Started pulling them. Say, okay, now we can carry my whole family. And we go. And it gets to a point. Someone says, okay, we've combined 5 horses. Is it possible to combine 100? He said, this one there is not possible. Not possible is what people say when they don't want to put in more effort. Some men came on the scene. They said, we can join 1,000 horses. They joined horses and they got cars with horsepower. 1 car is 1,000 horses. People were not satisfied with cars. He said, if we can do... Listen, it has been said several times that most of the time, the enemy to your next success is your previous success. People get successful at something, and because of that, they get comfortable and are not ready to go beyond. When your previous success had to be inspiration for the next, because there was a time that success you didn't have it. If you could strive to get it, then you can strive to get what is ahead of it. No matter how hard you try, you will never find your success in your comfort zone. You'd have to break out of your comfort zone for the next level. The Israelites were going to Egypt. Were going to Israel. They were in Egypt. When they left Egypt, they thought, I have left Egypt. So they started camping. One day God came and said, break camp and advance. Why? Because even though you are comfortable here, and here is not Egypt because you've left Egypt, this is not where I'm bringing you to. I'm taking you to a promised land. If you realize that you are getting very comfortable with where you are, then you are at the wrong place. Where is the right place? The right place is ahead of you. Move out. Excellence. The third thing I want to talk about is adding value to yourself. Adding value to yourself. Like I've already said, people of value don't look for opportunities. Opportunities look for them. How valuable are you? I have said time and again that life is a market. And the product you are marketing is yourself. How much do you cost? Do you know, there are some things that when you go to the market and ask the price, and they tell you The first thing you say, they tell you the thing is 1,000. You didn't say 900. You didn't say 800. You said this thing I'll give 400. And you end up giving 300. Why? Because you know the amount they mentioned is not equal to the value of that product. There are some other times when they mention the price, you are quick to pay before someone comes for it. Because you know that the price they've mentioned is equal to the thing they are talking about. People say this thing is expensive. There's nothing in the world that is expensive or cheap. Everything is its own price. When we say it's expensive, when you claim something is expensive, it's two things. Either the price is not what it's supposed to be, or you don't have the money to pay the price of what it is. Do you know there are some speakers like Bill Gates? Bill Gates is invited to speak for 30 minutes and they pay him more than $500,000. Why is it that there are some footballers? Recently, how many of you follow football a lot? You follow football. So you know Modric. Modric is supposed to have won the best player in the world award. Yet, Real Madrid wants to buy Neymar. And they want to give about 120 million pounds and add Modric to go for one player. That's value. I have said time and again that in life we do not compete with ourselves. But competition is inevitable. Do you know why? As far as we are in the same field, our results will be compared, whether we like it or not. So when I call the first coconut guy, and I call the second coconut guy, even though the first didn't know there was a second, and the second didn't know there was a first, I would compare their service to me and choose one. So last week or last 2 weeks, I called the coconut guy. He came. I said, I'm buying coconut. I said, I want the one that is soft. First mistake, the guy gave me the coconut. It was hard. Then I told him, after he had finished everything, to take out the coconut thing, the flesh, and then putting in a rubber for me. This guy took it out, and in taking it out, half of the coconut fell. He picked it back up, continued with the sand, and was coming to give it to me. And I told him, it's okay. I won't take it again. So another guy came. I called him. He said, I want to buy coconut. Then he asked me, which one do you want? I said, I want the soft one. Quickly, he did everything for me. The first guy, when he peeled the coconut and gave it to me to drink, the way he cut the thing was so hard to drink. The thing was pouring on me, so I stopped. The second guy buzzed the thing. When I took the thing and drank it, it felt like I was drinking from a cup. Then he removed it and put it in rubber for me. The first guy, when I asked him for rubber, do you know what he did? He didn't have some. So he went to speak to a pure water seller for rubber. Do you know something? This guy is praying in church that day he should make money from his business. You see, he doesn't know that from my context, I am comparing his results with another. Maybe he and that guy are sleeping in the same room and they are praying together. Then he sees the other guy making more sales, because I buy coconuts every day. And there are many people like me who also buy every day. The other guy starts making more sales, then he will say, like we always say in Ghana, he's doing me. The difference is that one added value to his service, the other didn't. I said, as long as you are in the same field with another person, your results would compete with each other. We go for World Cup. Messi scores 3 goals. They don't stop there. They say Messi has scored 3 goals. Ronaldo has scored 5. Meanwhile, Messi and Ronaldo don't even know. They are training for their matches. As far as you are in the same field with someone, they'll compare your results with that person. That's why you need to add value. Adding value makes you the only option. When someone decides that I want biscuit, is it your biscuit they'll come for? If you've added value to your biscuit service, it is you that they'll come for and no one else. So you may not want to compete with another. But once you are in the same field, the only one who doesn't compete with another person is the one who is in that field alone. I know of only one person like that. You know him, and that's God. He's in a field where other people cannot be compared to him. So do you know the funny thing? To be able to describe him, they couldn't call him the highest. Because to say he's the highest means there's high, there's higher, and there's highest. So what they did was to create a new realm for the man and say he's the most high, so that he doesn't have to be higher than another. But even in being high, he doesn't have any other competition. So God is not the highest. He's high because he's the only one in that realm. But there are many of us, whatever field you find yourself, as an engineer, as a lawyer, as a businessman, there are many other people in that field. Why would I choose you over the other? Value. When you go to buy a Nokia phone, this new 3310 they've redone. When you get there, and they tell you, this phone is 500 cedis, you say you won't buy, it's too expensive. Yet, when you go for iPhone S Max, they tell you it's 8,000. You take your money and don't say it's too expensive. What's the difference? Value. When people add value to themselves, they become magnets. They don't make too much noise in advertisements. Their value advertises them. That is how to influence your sphere. Add value. The last thing I'm going to talk about, because I don't have so much time and you also have been here for so long, is this. In everything you do, you need to employ the power of your mind. Employ the power of your mind. Many people think that success happens. Success doesn't happen. Success is a science. That means that there are reactants and there's a reaction and there's a product. It doesn't just happen. People do not bump into success. They work their way there. How do you work your way to success? Employ the power of your mind. Number one, what do you use your mind to think about yourself? Number two, what do you use your mind to think about others? Number three, what do you use your mind to think about your environment? Some people who believe very wrong things about themselves. They lost the war before they began. The other people who think wrongly about other people. In one of the presentations, we talked about necessary relationships that you need in life. There's some people who think everyone around them is an enemy. And that's a wrong thought. That's not to say there are no enemies, but everyone cannot be your enemy. If everyone is your enemy, then you are your own enemy, not everyone. What do you think about your environment? There are men who only see impossibilities. There are others who see possible things. Even in the Bible, it says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." Most people are praying that they want to be transformed. But the Bible never said when you pray, your life will be transformed. It said, when you renew your mind, your life will be transformed. How do you think? The Bible also said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What does it mean to think in your heart? This is what it means to think in your heart. Many people have not asked the question of why is it saying to think in your heart and not to think in your mind? Because as far as we know, thinking is an element of the mind. So why does it say, as a man thinketh in his heart? That means it's a special kind of thinking. It's not just the same thinking you probably think. To think in your mind is to have ideas in your mind. But to think in your heart is different. And I want you to take what I'm about to say very seriously, because it's probably the last point I'm making. To think in your heart is different. What does it mean? Do not blame a man for what comes to his mind. Because most of the time, you do not necessarily choose the ideas that come to your mind. Blame a man for the ideas he keeps in his mind. Because with that, you have the choice. It's your choice. It's my choice. What should I keep in my mind? I may not have decided what came, but what did I keep? So in the mind, anything can come and anything can go. But the question is, which of those ideas do you keep? So to think in your mind means that the thoughts could be temporary. It may be temporary because you didn't choose the thoughts. But to think in your heart is the thoughts that came to your mind that you further kept and embedded in your heart. So the mind can be likened to the weather. They say as changeable as the weather. It means that it may be like this or like that. Today, Ghana, in fact, last night was quite cold. I don't know about you. But is Ghana cold? So Ghana can be cold today and hot tomorrow. Weather is changeable. But the climate is the weather pattern over about 40 years. That's the heart. The mind is what came to my mind today. The heart is what have I been keeping in my mind for a long time. So you are not what came to your mind today. You are what you've been keeping in your mind for a long time. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. He may not be what he's thinking in his mind. But if he has been thinking that thing in his mind for 40 years, for 20 years, for 5 years, now it is what he's thinking in his heart. And that is exactly what he is. That is why when you meet a man and have a discussion with him for 10 to 15 minutes, you know who he is. Do you know why? For what abounds in your heart must come out of your mouth. You see, we are not saying that everything that comes out of your mouth has abounded in your heart. It's different. We're saying that what has abounded in your heart will come out of your mouth. This is what we are saying. When your mother is cooking soup in a saucepan, if the soup overflows because of boiling, it will pour out. So, out of the abundance of boiling, the soup will pour out. But soup does not only come out of the saucepan with boiling. You can fetch the soup out. What we are saying is that if the thing has abounded in your heart, it will come out. Yet, not everything that came out abounded. So, if someone is going to talk to you for 15 minutes or 10 minutes, he may try to impress you with things in his mind that is not in his heart. Because what is in his mind is not him. But for 15 minutes, something will abound from his heart. So your heart is you. Your heart has gotten to that point where you don't even decide any longer. So about 90% of the things you do every day, you didn't decide. Because you have been doing them for so long, it has become you. If you want to control what happens to your heart, then start controlling what you keep in your mind. That is exactly why the Bible says transformation comes by renewing your mind. This program we are having is an attempt to renew our minds. My mind has been renewed. When one speaker was talking about gestures and shakes, some of us may not have known it. One speaker was talking about technology and how it is transforming the world. Some of the things he said, I didn't know. But I've renewed my mind. Every chance, every day is an opportunity to renew your mind. When your mind is renewed, your heart is changed. When your heart is changed, your life is transformed. You have the capacity capacity to decide whether to succeed or to lose. There was a day that I asked someone, do you think you make it in life? The person said, I don't know, it's in God's hand. Your success is not in God's hand. And that sounds strange, but it is not. To say your success is in God's hand is to say that God is responsible for the Christians that failed. All God did was give you the seed. The planting, the watering, the nurturing, the harvesting is in your hand. What are you doing with the seed that God has given to you? That's the question I'm leaving with you today. What are you doing with the seed that God has given to you? And with this, I end my presentation for today. Once again, I would like to say a very big thank you to all of you that stayed to the end. To those who couldn't stay, I still say thank you because they came. Some people didn't come. Today has been a very wonderful day. I've had the time of my life, and I hope you did also. There are so many special guests here who, out of their busy schedule, chose to be here. And I'm even surprised. Some of them have stayed till now. These are very busy people. So I want to say a very big thank you to all of you for coming and for staying to this point. Like I've already said, people of value don't look for opportunities. Opportunities look for them. How valuable are you?